Get ready to sink your claws into the story of a man who started out as a cat burglar and ended up as a beloved Santa Claus for the Soprano family. Salvatore Bonpensiero, affectionately known as Big Pussy, had a career that was anything but ordinary. Born on September 16, 1951, Big Pussy grew up in the shadow of his father, Lino Bonpensiero. But instead of following in his father's footsteps, he decided to make a name for himself as a cat burglar. His nimble fingers and stealthy moves earned him the nickname Big Pussy, which he wore with pride. But Big Pussy didn't stop there. He also ran an auto body shop with his brother Edward, proving that he had more than just a few tricks up his sleeve. And in 1976, he married the love of his life, Angie Bonpensiero. But it was Big Pussy's affiliation with Demio capo Johnny Boy Soprano that would change the course of his life forever. During the unrest of 1983, Big Pussy pledged his loyalty to Johnny Boy and became an associate of the Soprano crew. And when Johnny Boy passed away in late 1986, Big Pussy backed his wishes to have his son, Tony Soprano, become capo of the crew. From then on, Big Pussy worked alongside other longtime Soprano associates, including Paulie Gualtieri and Silvio Dante. And despite the dangers of working in the DeMeo crime family, Big Pussy remained loyal to the Sopranos until the bitter end. But perhaps Big Pussy's most enduring legacy was his role as the successor to Johnny Boy's tradition of dressing as Santa Claus and giving out presents to local children at Satriali's meat market. Families appreciated his manner with their kids, and Big Pussy proved that even the toughest of guys could have a heart of gold. Get ready to hear the cautionary tale of Salvatore Bonpensiero, a man with a family to raise, a heroin habit to feed, and a secret that would eventually lead to his downfall. As a father and husband, Bonpensiero knew the importance of providing for his loved ones. But the money he made from the DeMeo crime family wasn't enough to cover the expenses of raising 3 children and putting them through college. So he turned to trafficking heroin on the side, hoping to make a quick buck. But his capo, Tony Soprano, and Jackie Aprile Sr., the acting boss of the family, warned him about the dangers of dealing drugs. They told him that heroin was too risky a venture, especially for mobsters in this day and age. Aprile even offered to help Bonpensiero financially if he was in need of money. But Bonpensiero didn't take the offer, perhaps out of fear of being indebted to the boss. And then came the fateful day when Bonpensiero was caught by the FBI. Facing the possibility of 30 years to life in prison, he was given an ultimatum: become an informant against Tony Soprano and his mob family, or face the weight of a death sentence behind bars. Bonpensiero made the difficult decision to become an FBI informant and was assigned Agent Skip Lipari as his handler. But the weight of his secret was too much to bear, and he was eventually outed as an informant. Let me take you on a wild ride through the criminal underworld of New Jersey. It was Christmas 1995, and Bonpensiero was a man with a mission: to bring peace between 2 feuding capos of the DeMeo crime family. He traveled all the way to Boca Raton, risking his life to convince Junior Soprano to come back to Jersey and settle a trucking dispute with acting boss Jackie Aprile. But things didn't go as smoothly as planned. Bonpensiero showed up fashionably late, blaming his Camar's mother's health problems for his tardiness. And when he finally arrived, he was already dressed in a Santa suit and appeared to be heavily intoxicated. Despite his erratic behavior, Bonpensiero was still an essential part of the Soprano crew's operation in 1998. He was involved in everything from intimidating debtors to disposing of bodies. And as the crew's car expert, he was always ready to come up with a creative solution to any problem. When Tony's son AJ's car was stolen, Bonpensiero tracked down the thieves and kidnapped them, only to discover that the car had already been chopped. But he didn't give up that easily. He stole another car of the same model and repainted it to pass it off as the original. However, with indictments looming, Bonpensiero's loyalty was called into question. He fled and burned papers in his backyard, leaving Tony Soprano to wonder if he had turned informant or had been concealing other crimes from the FBI. Months after his risky card game escapade, Salvatore Bonpensiero found himself in hot water once again. Corrupt detective Vin Makazian accused him of being a rat in Tony Soprano's crime family. To test his loyalty, Tony ordered Paulie Gualtieri to check Bonpensiero for a wire and even authorized him to kill him if he found one. But things didn't go as planned. When Gualtieri took Bonpensiero to a bathhouse to search him, he refused to undress and left, blaming his high blood pressure. This only heightened the crew's suspicions, but Tony's orders were clear: no wire, no hit. So Salvatore disappeared for a while, leaving Gualtieri in charge of his collections. When he resurfaced claiming to have been in Puerto Rico for treatment, Salvatore's loyalty was still in question. He was left out of the cruise trip to Italy, and when he met with Lipari in a party goods store, he was spotted by an Elvis impersonator named Jimmy Bones. Fearing that he would be revealed, Salvatore later went to Bones' house and killed him. Salvatore Bonpensiero's personal life was unraveling, and his loyalty to the Soprano crime family was being tested at every turn. His wife Angie was considering leaving him, and even though they were both Catholic, they had resorted to sleeping in separate bedrooms. On top of that, Tony Soprano's reorganization of the crew left Salvatore feeling bitter and resentful. He complained to Lipari that this thing of ours had become this thing of mine. But Salvatore's reservations about informing on Soprano began to fade. Lipari convinced him to wear a wire to Anthony Jr.'s confirmation. But instead of talking business, Salvatore spent most of his time upstairs with AJ, telling him how much his father loved him. The weight of his situation was too much for him to bear, and he ended the evening sobbing in the bathroom. After Christopher Moltisanti was shot, Salvatore fell back into his role as a loyal soldier. He helped Tony track down the traitor, drawing out the murder and then going to dinner with Tony as if nothing had happened. But when the FBI started putting pressure on him to get a confession from Tony on tape, Salvatore flatly denied any involvement. Salvatore Bonpensiero's double life as a mobster and FBI informant was starting to unravel. He had started cooperating with the FBI and giving them information on Tony Soprano's stolen airline ticket scam. But FBI handler Skip Lipari wasn't convinced that they had enough evidence to prove Tony's guilt in bankruptcy fraud. Salvatore had even suggested that he could work in law enforcement once he was finished helping the FBI build their case. He started recording notes and tailing members of his crew, but things quickly went wrong. In an unrequested stakeout, he was involved in a car accident, which only added to his troubles. Tony eventually realized that his old friend had betrayed him and abandoned his blinding affection for Salvatore. In a portentous dream, Salvatore appeared as a fish and revealed that he had known all along. Tony decided he had to be sure and went to Salvatore's home. With the help of Silvio, he searched for evidence and found a wire hidden under the false bottom of a cigar box. Tony then had Salvatore meet him on a boat, under the pretense of checking out a new vessel. But once they were out to sea, Tony, Silvio, and Paulie confronted their former friend and got him to admit that he had informed on them. Salvatore claimed that he had been acting as a double agent, feeding misinformation to the FBI. But it was too late for Salvatore. He realized that he wouldn't make it off the boat alive and requested not to be shot in the face. If you thought things couldn't get any darker, think again. Salvatore Bonpensiero's double life as an FBI informant had come to a head, and he found himself face to face with his former friends and colleagues. Paulie Gualtieri told him, "You were like a brother to me," before Tony Soprano opened fire. Paulie and Silvio Dante also shot at Salvatore, and all shots hit him in the chest, honoring his last wish to keep his eyes and not be shot above the neck. In a macabre scene, Paulie took some jewelry off Salvatore's body, and the three mobsters bagged him up, weighed him down, and threw him overboard. The memory of their old friend's betrayal and murder would haunt them for years to come. Salvatore left behind a wife, Angie Bonpensiero, and 3 children, Matt, Kevin, and Terry. But the revelations didn't stop there. In the video game, The Sopranos, Road to Respect, it was revealed that he also had an illegitimate child, Joey LaRocca. Despite Salvatore's death, Angie assumed his share of the body shop and continued her involvement with the DeMio crime family. It's a story of tragedy, secrets, and the high cost of living a life of crime. Salvatore's death was the final chapter in a life filled with deception and deceit, leaving behind a trail of heartbreak and destruction. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to Vano VHS and hit the like button. And if you want to show some love to Vano VHS, you can now buy us a coffee. Check out the link on your screens.